Welcome back, guys. We're back in to review the next deck, our division in WARNO, and we're looking at the 5th Panzer Division today. So starting off straight away in the logistics tabs, looks like we have a vehicle we've seen already before, the Unimog S404 munitions, nice little standard vehicle, the M113A1 munition, and the Man Cat 6x6 munition. Nice little variation of vehicles there. Next we have the Iltis Führungs. I think that means managerial. So command vehicle this. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then the Fuchs FU. Don't know how that's actually personally pronounced. But a good vehicle actually, nonetheless. The good stats and the weapon system, quite frankly. And you've got a little bit of armor, so it's not a bad vehicle overall. And lastly, the M577 GA2 command vehicle. Seen this as well in the last division. But good to just get your standard logistic vehicles here. Next, we've got Feldjäger. So these guys are just your standard little infantry, cheap infantry to be used, fill up towns. So if you guys want to utilise that, you can. Next are the Sicherungs, which I think stands for security unit. Once again, correct me if I'm wrong in my German fans. I've got some advice from someone in the comments in the last video, or 2 videos ago, in the Heimat, which means home, and Schützen, which actually means rifleman, which I thought it meant, I can't remember what I thought it meant actually, protection or something. But it means rifleman, Schützen. So if you see that, we know what that stands for now. Nice little unit to have there. G384s, cheap, a little bit better than the security forces, but depends what you want to use. I personally wouldn't really use these, quite frankly. I like to have infantry that actually can help itself defend positions. But then again, if you really want to go for a massive infantry division, then maybe you could put these right at the end just to bolster defences. Next are the Panzer Grenadier Führer, which is one of the best panzer units or command units in the game, just as weapon systems, both in Red Eye, surface missile, and anti-tank rocket launcher, as well as the G3A4 rifle, and also equipped with a Marder 1A2. Really nice to have this in this division as well. Next are the Panzer Grenadiers, the Carl Gustav M2. Nice unit, seen these before as well. Got that 6 strength there. Next we have the Panzer Grenadiers with the M113 capability, with the Panzer First 44, 9 men there. And then lastly we have the Panzer Grenadiers with Marder. So it's not really, I wonder what the actual difference is between these 2 units here per se. There's not much, quite frankly. One can be deployed with the M113, one can be deployed with the Marder. I'm looking at stats wise, there's not much difference at all across the board, which doesn't make much sense to me. Actually now I'll see what the difference is. The difference is the strength. 9 on the left and 5 on the right. But you are getting a really good Marder 1A3 to be able to be utilised on the battlefield. One of the best infantry vehicles in the game, top 3 I'd say, so far, until we look at the other new divisions in the next few episodes. Moving on with M40A1, which is the tank gun, recoilless rifle more or less. Can take up targets up to 1,004. Not bad unit to be utilised as a defensive system. Nice other option, the Milan 1 and the Milan 2. Milan 2 obviously a bit more expensive, with potentially deploying the Marder 1A3, which brings the price up quite substantially to 125, but still good unit that can be utilised at defending against armoured vehicles and tanks. It's nice to have that capability in this deck, especially need that. It's an armoured division deck, so primarily you're going to be potentially going up against armoured divisions, hopefully more than anything, or at least open ground where armoured divisions like to do the big pushes. So it's good having those 80 GM weapon systems to assist. Next are the Pioneer Führer. So the MP2, the Carl Gustav M2 as well. Not a bad unit for the price there. Having that Carl Gustav means it can defend itself, and it can obviously go in its troop vehicle here. Nice. We have the Pioneers with the satchel charge, Pioneers with the flamethrower, and then you have some Pioneers with the arm burst. Yet to use this yet, this weapon system here, but it looks pretty cool. It's high explosive, so it's been quite interesting things to see how good it is against infantry potentially. It might be good against tanks. It's got good penetration, I suppose, but we'll see what it's like in the game. Next, have the Jägers Führer as well, anti-tank rocket launcher now Carl Gustav. Not much difference between the two, to be honest, other than stats with Axiom and whatnot. But it's not much of a difference. And then lastly, we have the Jaeger, which is probably one of the top good units in this division, but obviously it's not primary infantry. But good strength, not bad weapon systems as well. Next, moving on artillery, we have the 120mm Tampeller mortar. Like I said before previously, pretty good at the assisting in infantry assaults. The only thing is the range is 5,000, where other mortars are normally about 6,000. So potentially, if you want to counter mortar against other mortars, you might be a little bit out of range, which sucks a little bit. Next are the Panzer Mortar, which is pretty much the TAM pellet on the back of this chassis in 113. Pretty good unit. This is what I personally buy first on the battlefield. Next are the Lars 2, which is an SF2 110mm. It's probably one of the best multiple launch rocket systems I've seen in a game, because its stats are pretty good. Good range, good reloading time and speed and everything, so it's nice vehicle. Good price as well. Next are the Mars, seen this as well, high explosive multiple launch rocket system. Good range as well, really good middle bit of kit. Pretty much anything in the zone where you fire upon is pretty much dead. Minus tanks, they may have a more larger or longer survivability rate, but other than that, anything soft-skinned or infantry, you're pretty much going to get annihilated. So, really good bit of kit. Next are the FH-155 155mm howitzer gun. Really good howitzer as well, really good high suppression rate and high explosive rate there, as you can see. Not bad range. Only thing is it might take a little while to get on the field and deploy. For counter artillery and stuff like that, it's going to be quite easy to take out. But other than that, it's pretty good stats in taking out units. Next, we've got the M109A3 GA1, which is the 155 howitzer self-propelled artillery. Really good bit of artillery piece. This good to move around, and high explosive and special rate's pretty good as well. And lastly, we have the M110ATG A2G, sorry, with the better howitzer guns out of the three. And really high explosive and suppression rate there. And range isn't the best still, but it's about average for all of the self-propelled artillery pieces. But really good suppression and high explosive rate. And it's reflected in its price being the most expensive. Next are the tank branch, which is the primary branch in this division here. So we can see some interesting units, I hope. So first and foremost, we have the M4A1-2CGA1. It's a mouthful. Main battle tank. This is going to be your cannon fodder, front units to assist infantry and be a bullet sponge. Not bad stats for the price you're looking at. It's pretty good. It's obviously got medium machine guns and heavy machine gun to help support infantry there. Next are the Leopard 1A1. Not a bad weapon system for what it is. 2,100 range. Penetration not too bad. Actually, it's pretty good for what it is as well. 80 points. Not bad for your first starting tank for your first or your tank formation. A Jaguar 1 and a Jaguar 2. Really good anti-tank weapon systems these are. Low profile, so you've got mediocre stealth, which I thought would be a little bit more good because it's quite a low profile vehicle, but it's quite wide. But good stats there. Armor's good as well, so it's not a bad anti-tank vehicle, probably one of the top best I've seen. Only thing is its speed's quite poor, but it's pretty good. It's a good weapon system. Definitely would advise putting this in your anti-tank or tank division to assist your tank assaults against other armor divisions as well. Firepower, sending an armored column forward with the assistance of anti-tank weapons behind. Sniping tanks whilst your tanks push through is a good tactic to utilize. A really good thing to think about. Next, the Leopard 1A5 Furap with the L7A3 gun. Not a bad range actually for the points you're looking at. It's not a bad weapon system at all. And you've got the command variant there, which is good. And then you've got Leopard 1A5, which is non-command. Penetration's not the best, but the other stats are pretty good for what you're looking at. For a 100-point tank, it's 74% actually. Good range. 2 shots of this bad boy, you're going to be getting in. So get a few of these in the battlefield. Really good units actually. Leopard tank, German tanks are pretty good already, even the cheap ones. Next are the Leopard 2A3 Führer, which is the command version of the Leopard 2A3. We've seen this previously before in the last division, and the 2A3 as well. Really nice bit of kit. And then finally, we've got Leopard 2A4, the big boy, probably one of the top best tanks in the game. So far, I would say it's definitely well and truly up there. I think the max armor we've seen is 21. I think that was one of the Soviet division decks. We'll have a look. But we can look at it more in depth in the comparison videos, comparing tanks and vehicles in the game. But a really nice weapon system, really good stats, as you can see there. Even if I bump that up all the way to the highest point, static emotion 81%. You know, it's middle, really good tank. One of the top tanks in the game. Next, moving on to the Reconnaissance. We've seen pretty much most of these already as well. So you have the Alette du. I don't know why I sounded French there. Very good optics, which ain't bad. Always good to have a air reconnaissance to assist with all aspects on the ground. It's good to have ground, air, recon, and armoured. Always have a good mix of units. You can get a better better picture of the battlefield. Next, we have the Aufklärer. That's how you pronounce that. Correct me if I'm wrong, even in the description or the comments below. Not bad infantry unit, or recon unit, to be honest. Not much expensive. Well, it's about 60 points, as you can see. But it's good, it does what it does. 4-man unit, good for like Saboteur. Next is the Jaeger unit, which is a large recon unit. As you can see here, really good unit here, exceptional, very good. Probably one of the best. I would 100% recommend getting these guys. Out on the ground, they can also help with assisting assault positions. I've explained roughly what I'd use these guys for primarily. Would be like just the back of a formation of an infantry assault, or potentially at the front, to get eyes on enemy positions before they see you and then clear them out. It's really good. Highly recommend these guys, and they're good strength as well. Good weapon systems. So not only just a recon unit, they actually can be utilised to assault positions as your regular infantry. Next we have the Fernspeer. Really nice looking recon unit there. It's looking like all beards. All got the same. That's a bit weird. Literally all the same faces, except for the sky at the end there. That's funny. Really nice stats. Is satchel charge, the HK-21 light support weapon, and the submachine gun MP5S2. Really nice stats. They're really good accuracy. As you can see, they're 92%. That's probably one of the highest accuracies I've seen in the game, and even more so. 100% accuracy. That is incredible. I don't think I've seen 100% accuracy in any of the units in the game yet. So this is going to be by far one of the best infantry unit I've seen. I really want to utilise these guys just to see how well they are against other units. Exceptional stealth and very good, really good. Also in the card game I'm making, these one units that'll be released, the Fernspeer unit. So if you want to look at that, check that out in the card game I'm making. Alright, next we have the Lucas or Lux A1. Nice autocannon on this bad boy. Good recon unit for what it is. It's quick, it's agile, it's got good optics, and it can defend itself against both helicopters and ground targets. And lastly, the Fuchs Rasit recon unit. So I think that means troop transport, maybe. Potentially, I'm not too sure. Let me know in the description below. Description below, in the comments below. Not a bad unit. Still want to use it. The only thing is it's got no weapon system, which is a little bit frustrating, but other than that, it looks like it may be quite efficient. Right, moving on to the anti-air tab, sorry. The MP2, the Red Eye, seen this unit before, nice and cheap, you can dot this around the map. The FK-20, 20mm Zwingling, anti-air gun, not bad once again, good, you can throw this around the map, quite a lot of these in defences. And then moving on to the Gepard 1A1. One of the best anti-tank weapon systems, or anti-air weapon systems in the game, I'd say. Phenomenal stats, as you can see. Really good accuracy. Really good ground, helicopter, and aircraft range as well. So it's an all-rounder. Really good tank for what it is. Next, moving to FRP Roland and the Roland 3. Let's just compare these side by side real quick. Have a look. So, in comparison, you're getting the same amount of rockets. You get a bit more high explosive and suppression rate in the Roland 3. Range is increased to 2825, which is really good in the Roland 3 actually, and 4200 on the Roland 3 as well. Accuracy is the same, and other stats are exactly the same. But for the sake of 30 more points, I think that does take a big difference in the game. That 2,800 meter range against helicopters is a big advantage. I explained before, as most helicopters have a maximum range of 2,800 most of the time against ground units. So having an extra 25 meters means these can engage first, which makes a big difference on the battlefield. Next, we have the air tab, helicopter tab, sorry, with the B0105, with the Hot 1, and then the Hot 2. Nice, had that good range. Not the best range once again, but really good stats there. Good accuracy, good penetration, good anti-tank weapon system. These are, highly recommend using these in your division. Next and finally, in the helicopter tab, we have the A864A Apache rocket version. Nice. So this has been assigned to the 5th Panzer Division, which is pretty cool. Love you have that option to use these guys in this. I love the way they've mixed some of the units up as well into different divisions, which is pretty cool. Still yet to see the ability to potentially just have, like, you have in Wargame Red Dragon, where you can literally select NATO and just put whatever you want into a deck. That would be pretty awesome if they eventually do that, instead of having pre-selected units per division, which is a bit frustrating. But nonetheless, this is a good weapon system. Well, good Hydra, you have that ability to have that helicopter support to assist infantry attacks and against any other units on the battlefield. Nice. Last of the air tab, which always seems quite big in the NATO units, actually, quite frankly, especially the German division. Last one, there was a lot of air units. The first one, Alpha Jet A, with rocket pods on it, SNEB rockets, nice. F104G, anti-air, air-to-air missiles, not bad for the price, little cheap thing you can get out on the battlefield to suppress and engage aircraft to get that air superiority, potentially. Then the F4F anti-air, which is a little bit better than the one before, but not massively. You got a little bit more speed on it, I think. Oh, less speed actually. There's not much different in regard to agility. You're probably just looking at a difference in price a little bit. Because the missiles are pretty much exactly the same. The stats are not moving at all. The only thing that's moving is this down the bottom. And you're paying extra 25 points for it. Personally, you're literally paying for the agility. Which is kind of frustrating to see actually. ECM's a little bit better on this one on the right hand side. Which is electrical countermeasures. Personally, I wouldn't even just... For what you're looking at, for the difference in price, you're probably better going for the cheap one. 30 points could be a recon unit. Or AA. It's personal preference. F4F anti-tank with the Mavericks. Nice, you have that ability to use that. Good penetration as well. 26. If this gets a hit, it's pretty much dead. A Tornado 1DS high explosive, the Mark 83 bombs. Very nice bit of kit as well, that. Moving on next to the Tornado 1DS cluster version. Always good having a cluster aircraft. I really do like using cluster in Battlefield. It's really good. The S-16C Seed. Nice. We've seen this as well in the American decks, but obviously they've assigned it to this division as well. Good stats here, the harm. They're really good at taking out Seed. I literally used it in one of the previous, well, a battle I just played recently. An F4F high explosive 2, so you've got a different variant here with the Mark 82s. 12 times bombs on this one. It's quite an expensive aircraft, and I think that's kind of reflected the amount of explosives you have in this thing. That's incredible amount of high explosives can be dropped on a position. You can wipe out quite a lot with this aircraft. Probably one of the best. Actually, is 98% as well. There's no point even upgrading that. Quite frankly, I'll just use this for a bomber. You can get 3 of them as well. That is an OP unit. I really want to use that because that is going to be a really good bit of kit to use. Very good agility. ECM's 30%. Air optics is good. It can defend itself. It makes sense why it's so expensive. And then lastly, we have the Tornado 1DS MW1, which I'm still yet to use this one. The unguided bomb, which I'm guessing just drops cluster bomblets on top of a position, which is going to be quite an interesting use. So I look forward to using that. Alright, so that would be the Armoured Division deck, Panzer II Division. Some really nice units in this division, actually. Once again, really good tanks as well. I really look forward to trying out Lip 185 and 284 in a battle and see how well we can actually utilise this deck. Hope you enjoyed. We'll be moving on to the last German division after this. I think it may be, is it like an airborne division? I'm not too sure. We'll have a look, and I hope you enjoyed. So give me a little subscribe, and I'll see you next one.